So a couple of years ago, I was brought in as CFO of a private equity-backed Houston-based oilfield service business. When I arrived, the company was midstream, really in the early days, probably 1/3 into an ERP implementation, kind of going from simple QuickBooks operation to a more sophisticated operation. When we finished it, not a lot unlike most ERP implementations, we struggled initially to kind of invoice our customers and get our payables and all that. Once we got through all that, the real issue that we discovered is we weren't, as a management team and as a leadership team, able to get the information out of it efficiently that we wanted. At some point, I just drew the conclusion that a lot of the discussions that we were having, it seemed to be not constructive with the systems implementation firm. And frankly, from a cost perspective, it felt like we were still continuing to pour some of the same good money after some of the bad. So I elected to hit pause and said, what we're doing is not working. I had a friend that was an associate of Trenegy, and he and I were talking, and he basically laid out a story about how he had joined this firm, Trenegy, that does a variety of business and systems and other types of consulting services. And he said, one of the things that we found is that we've had great success stepping into companies that have recently implemented business systems and just aren't getting out of it what they expected to. I said, wow, that sounds pretty familiar. So have your team come by. So they came by, one thing led to another, and we ultimately put in place an engagement where Trenegy, in a fairly short time frame, would come in and evaluate kind of how we got here, what we had, and what we wanted to get out of the system. A few things that it revealed. Number one, we ultimately got there. And like any business, if you keep working at it, you're going to figure out how to get out of it what you need. And we probably could have figured it out. The key is, how do you accelerate that to get the most return on investment and start to really impact your business? And so that's really what Trenegy brought to the table, was really compressing probably the year or two that it would have taken to get to the same spot into a couple months to allow us to really kind of drive performance. Two, I'd say, like with any business system, I think the key in my mind is begin with the end in mind. What are you trying to accomplish with this system? And if you can set up the whole project to try to achieve what you're trying to accomplish at the end, again, you're going to have bumps in the road, and it's much more complicated than that, but you're probably going to have a lot more success. It was really clear after Trenegy came in with their philosophy and principles and kind of their team, that what we lacked was really setting up this system to get out of the system what the management team needed, whether it be digitally, paper-based, or whatever types of reports, kind of like a Power BI system that was pulling information to allow not only the board and the CEO and the CFO to kind of evaluate the business, but really all of the business managers to really make better business decisions, which in my mind is kind of the purpose of that ERP system. Trenegy did a really wonderful job for us in a project that really lasted more than a couple of years. In my mind, I wish we'd had them along in the very beginning to have helped us kind of de-risk that project along the way, but ultimately it was a great outcome.